Okay, here we are. We are back for hopefully our last video. So let's go. Here we go. And I'm really going to focus on this little tail here. Now, animals' tails could be quite significantly different. Some tails you'll have like one big bushy shape. You can see my tail. Again, when we model this, we want to make sure that we realize the tail actually has to hook into the body, not just into these hips. So my body's all the way back here. And so I'm going to start my tail with a shape right here to connect it to the body. You won't see that from this view, but when we look at it from behind, it'll be there. And then I'm going to make another chunk right here. Whoops, that's too big. Sorry. Significant overlap is very important here. And there it is. So you want to make links. So each time the tail bends, we make a shape that's significantly overlapped and link them together. Some people are going to use cylinders for this. My tail is more bushy, so I'm choosing to use spheres. All right, I think you've watched enough of me measuring things. I'll be right back when it's measured. All right, boom, here we are, we're back, and I have measured all of these shapes. Let's go over to Tinkercad. Okay, let's zoom in a little bit closer on that. All right, there we go. And we're at some of the final phases of our project here. Let's move this over here a little bit. Just this. Okay. Okay, so I'm going to grab this. And again, if you're like, hey, I want to link cylinders together and put a paraboloid at the end, go do that. Whatever works better for your shapes. Mine, I feel like these are the best way. And again, I'm actually not going to torture you by making you watch the whole thing. I'll start off with a shape. We're going to put that right here to link in with this one. So I'll start it, and this shape here is 68 by 50. We can see right here, 68 by 50. 68 long. That's not correct. Hold on. Sorry. 40 by 15. That was the hip. I thought that was pretty big. Sorry about that. 40 by 15. Yeah, I made a mistake pretty significantly. And since it's 15 wide, tall, I'm going to make it 15 wide. Again, we're kind of just taking a guess here. Transparent on. I'm going to duplicate this, move it over, duplicate, because I have 4 total shapes to make. I'll show you installing the first shape, and then it's just by this point in the project, you've probably, oh, we need to make everything transparent. By this point in the project, you've probably got the idea of how I'm doing things. Okay. I'm going to match about the right angle. That is way too high. Get a right view. And of course, we're using the flat view because the other view sucks. Perspective view, when you get done and show it off to people, that's what you want to use. Flat view is much better for designing, and I recommend that on every project you make on Tinkercad. Flat view rules. Okay. Okay, it looked good from that angle, but we definitely need to move it towards the center here. Okay, that looks pretty good. And I'll be back in a second. I'm going to pause this, and so you don't need to watch me do every bit of this. Here we're back, and we've got all these in here. Now look, they're lined up perfectly straight. I don't know about you, but I've never seen a cat's tail that's completely straight backwards. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab these and just kind of grab the last 3, rotate, compensate by moving it back over this way. And we're just bending it a little bit to make it look more organic, more natural. Bend it back maybe this way a little bit. and then bend this last one with a rotation, and then move it down to make sure it kind of links together pretty well. All right, let's take a look at this thing. I'm going to delete this other stuff. I don't need it anymore because I'm pretty happy with this. And let's unlock and group everything together. I want to change it to one color. Let's go multicolor off, transparent off. And look at that. There it is. It is basically finished. We've got the tail on there. Let me show you some other tails that I've made on other animals. Just a second. All right, so here's that guy. Here's a Chihuahua that I made in the past. You can see cylinder, 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 paraboloid at the end. This was from a dog or a wolf that had a very fluffy tail. So I just used two massive shapes. So if you got a fluffy tail, might as well just use a couple of big shapes to do it. Oh, there's the Chihuahua again. This is the very first one I ever made. I don't really like it now, but it works. I use cylinders that are progressively overlapped and progressively smaller as they get to the end. All right, I hope this helps you make your tails. In the next video, the final video, we'll rotate this a little bit to flatten out his feet, and then we're going to add a base to the bottom.